Those students who are joining with their name, just leave immediately and join with your UID. UID underscore your name. Plus, do not, I'm reminding again and again. Those students who are joining with their name, just leave and join with your UID underscore your name. All the students, those who are joining with their name, leave immediately and join with your UID underscore your name. Otherwise, your attendance will not be marked. Devarsi Patel, Devarsi, just leave immediately. Devarsi, leave immediately and join with UID underscore name. Niharika, leave the session and join with your UID underscore your name. Devarsi, Niharika, otherwise your attendance will not be marked. Mano, if you have joined, leave immediately and join with your UID underscore your name. Manav, Devarsi Patel. Manav, do not identify Manav. Manav, just leave. Devarsi Patel. Devarsi Patel, leave and join with your UID and name. Yeah, it's fine. You have to join with your UID underscore your name. Yeah, that's okay. So class, today we are going to implement DHCP server. So before I start, can any one of you let me know what is DHCP? What is the purpose of DHCP protocol? What is the purpose of the DHCP protocol? Ganesh Rathod underscore 123, leave immediately and join with your UID. So class, I have shared my screen, and once it is visible, let me know. Let me know whether my screen is visible to you all. You can drop me a message or you can raise your virtual hand. Is there anyone? Devarsi, you is still there with your name. You have to leave and join with your UID underscore your name. So literally you are absent for me. So class, today we are going to implement the DHCP server. DHCP server. Implement the DHCP server. So before that, you all have gone through my lecture. So can anyone tell me? Let me know what is this DHCP server? What is the purpose of this DHCP? Yes, anyone? Unmute yourself and you can tell me. What is DHCP server? For what purpose it is being used? Are you with me, class? Can you hear me? Ravi's replied, it automatically assign IP address to the host. Yeah, that's correct. What else? What else you would like to add? What is the static configuration of the IP? And what is the, the dynamic configuration of the IP? Anyone? So today what we are going to do, we will take a router and configure the router as DHCP server. DHCP stands for, anyone? DHCP stands for what? Okay. Can anyone let me know? What does this DHCP stands for? You can take any router, no issue. I want to see some response in the chat box. Static configuration where we manually assign the IP, correct? Pre-parameter, pre-network parameter. What are the various network parameter are the IP address, the subnet mask, and IP address, subnet mask, and the default gateway. So as I have done this in my theory, so I hope you all are aware about the concept. I say that let's take one router. Then take a switch. And to that switch, we will connect many AND devices. For example, we are taking 1, 2, 3, 4 PCs. Is that fine? So this topology I will be using. So let's hook up these all devices. Plus which cable is required to connect the switch to the PC. Okay. These devices are hooked up, connected. At this side, you can see that it's green, but this side it is, what we call that, slightly of orange color. Yeah, straight cable is used. And I want to connect this router to the switch. So different type of devices. So again, I will be using gigabit to gigabit. All right. So the DHCP work on the model of client server architecture. So when I say client server architecture, what does that mean, class? Let me take a note. The network I'm gonna use 192.168.1.0. The subnet mask, this is a class C IP, 255.255.255.0. Okay, so let's save our topology anywhere. Just save it anywhere. This is April 6 and we are configuring DHCP server. DHCP server. And again, I'm repeating, those students who have joined with their name, just leave and join with your UID underscore your name. So I'm saying that this is working on the client server architecture. What does that mean? Your browser is a client and there is somewhere on the globe, there is a server. A client is requesting for some services and server is fulfilling for that. Yes, and it is same in this scenario. So this will be serving as a DHCP server, and this will be acting as all the PC, the client. These PCs are the client. So what happened, class? This PC, personal computer or the device, request for its IP, and the DHCP server in reply provide the network parameter dynamically, or you can say that automatically, to the client. Are you with me, class? Whether the concept of DHCP is clear? Yes, are you with me, class? Let me know whether the concept of DHCP is clear to you all. Am I audible? Can you hear me? Whether my screen is visible? Any doubt till now in configuring this topology? All clear? Should I proceed further? Now we are moving towards very important phase of the DHCP configuration. All right, so this interface, it is connected to this switch one, the router. You can make any complex topology, no worry. So by default, as we all know, that all the PCs on virtual LAN, default virtual LAN 1. In my last practical session, I have demonstrated how to create a VLAN. Yes, class, you all know how to create the VLAN? How many of you know and how many of you can create a VLAN? Let me know. Can you raise your hand on virtual hand? How many of you can you create VLAN? Why I'm talking about VLAN? Because I said that you can create any complex topology, and you can configure the DHCP. All right, class, there is some reply. No, VLAN has been already demonstrated to you all. You might have been absent. You all have submitted the pre-post worksheet. In some, class lecture, I have demonstrated that. Okay, no issue. In this topology, any doubt? Now click on the router, go to the CLI. You know how to work in CLI? What is CLI? Command line interface. It is asking for would you like to enter the initial configuration of dialog? No. So just we are here in the user mode. So to work on this router, we have to enable it. Now it's enabled. This router is enabled. We have to create a DHCP pool. The command for creating the DHCP pool is IP DHCP DHCP pool command. And after that, you will give the name of the pool. So the IP DHCP is the command. And after that, you will type the pool. For example, I'm typing here the main pool. This is my main pool. Okay, all right. This command is not enabled here. To make any changes to the router, you first need to run this command, configure terminal. Configure terminal. Okay, now you are in configuration mode, privilege mode. Here you can create the pool with the same command that I told you. The command is IP, yes, it is IP DHCP IP DHCP pool, then the name of the pool. You can give anything XYZ. You can give the block 14 pool, right? See, this pool is created. Now we have to return okay, no worry, I will also demonstrate that, no issue. But I have started this DHCP, so let me complete it. All right. You all saying that you haven't configured. This is 19 AIT. Unit 2. In Unit 2, experiment number 5 is implement the VLAN and VLAN trunking protocol. Yes, you are correct. Okay, no issue. I have activated this DHCP. No issue. After DHCP, I will explain how to create VLAN also. Don't worry. But I remember I have explained that. I have already demonstrated that to some others. That I think. Here I have demonstrated on March 23rd. Okay. No worry. Don't worry. I will also demonstrate that. Okay. All right. Just focus. Yeah, I remember. Okay, let's concentrate on this DHCP. After that, we can complete that too. All right. Are you with me, class? Okay, fine. So what we have done, we have created the pool, and the name of the pool is block 15 block 14. So what happened, guys? There is pool of IP addresses, and this IP addresses is automatically allocated to the PC, to the laptop that is connecting. So what is the network? Let me see this. So this is my network, 192.168.1.0 class C. Can anyone let me know? This is the network ID itself. How many usable IP addresses can be there in this network? Just do a simple calculation for me. How many usable IP addresses can be there? Yes, can you do a simple calculation? Can you tell me how many IP addresses, unique host IP will be there in this class network? I'm waiting. You can see I've shared my whole screen. There is no response. You with me? Can understand some calculation? 8. How? Ravis, 8. What 8? 8 IP addresses. Total IP addresses 2 to the power 8, 256. And when I say usable IP addresses, -2. First IP is the network IP itself, and last IP is the broadcast. So usable, you getting 254. That's Chandu. Yeah, good. Can you also see your chat messages as I have opened that? Can you see this chat box that's on my screen as I have shared my screen? Whether the CLI is visible to you, command line interface of the router. Let me know first. Command line interface is visible. Okay, but that chat box is not visible to you. And that browser, this, your course, here, Blackboard course, 19AML2, visible. All right, fine then. We are here. Just click. Okay, we are configuring this. So I have given only the name, but what is the network? That there is the network. I'm adding the network to this block 14 pool. Block 14 pool. I can give it name DHCP pool, block 14 pool. So what is the network? 192.168.1.0, this network, and 255.255.255.0. All right, I have added the network, and there are total usable 254 IP addresses. Then let's define the default router. The default router is the default gateway itself. Can anyone let me know? Can anyone let me know what is default gateway? Yeah, default router. I have set first command, enable the router, configure the terminal, IP DHCP, create the pool, create the network, then create the default gateway. Okay, then I will ask, what is default gateway, guys? Nearest router to the end system. So default gateway, I have decided the default gateway here. And after the default gateway, let's create the DNS server. So for the DNS server, you can give any IP in that range, 192.168.1.254. That's fine, from 1 to 254. You can also give the DNS name, DNS server, and you can provide the domain name. You can give domain name aitcsc.com. So let's done here. Let's exit from here. So what happens, guys? I don't want the IP of the default gateway. I don't want this IP to be allocated to any PC in this network. Why? This is the default gateway. I don't want this server IP to be allocated in this network or any IP address that you are reserving, and don't want it to be assigned to any PC. So you can run IP DHCP excluded address. Is it clear, class? Why I'm giving this command? IP DHCP excluded address. IP DHCP excluded address. Are you with me? Then you will give the IP address that you don't want to be assigned to any host, 192.168.1.1. I don't want it to be assigned to any host. Let's enter. Again, I don't want, suppose that I'm having FTP file server. I don't want it to be dynamic. I generally want to be static. Getting my point? 254 is the DNS server. DNS name, DNS server. I don't want it to be assigned to any. So IP DHCP exclude. Is it clear, class? Let me know. Is it clear? Are you with me? Okay. Then there is a command lease. Lease command. Can you make me understand what is the general meaning of the lease? Lease in day-to-day real life. Those IP addresses not belong to this PC. Yeah, that is from, you know, this server. It will allow, it will assign to these host for some time, for some month, for some days, for some hours. If you do not give the lease command, if you do not give the lease, if you do not give the lease command, it will be for 24 hours. All right. Generally, we keep it different. All right. Why DNS server is different from the router IP? Because you are working on some interface. You can see that now we are almost done. Let's use lease command. What is the syntax? You month, days, hours. So you can use any 9. Fine. Sign error here. Okay, fine. Let's exit from here. Exit. The DHCP server is configured properly. You can run so IP DHCP pool. By that you can display the pool. Now no IP is leased, 2 IP is excluded, total 254 IP, and this is starting from. So you can say this interface, I have already told you in the starting that every interface of the router represent one network. All right. So you have to configure this also. How you configure this? You have to set IP address. So you can set it from the command line, or you can set it, you know, you can just try it. Click on the PC, click on the desktop, click on the IP. It is static. You have to set to DHCP. So requesting for its IP address from the DHCP server, it says that DHCP server is failed. Why DHCP server is failed? As you can see that this link is down. You have to turn it on. So there is command. If you say I can configure it from the command window, and if you say I can configure it from the CLI, from GUI. So here, configure Ethernet. You see this line is, you know, off. You have to turn it on. First, provide the IP to this interface. What IP I'm gonna assign to this interface? This interface I'm going to assign, this is 192.168.1.1. So this. So if you say 192.168.1.1, okay, no shutdown. Fine, done. Now you can see that this line is turned into green. Yes, class, let me know, are you with me? Is it clear? This is here of orange color, but it will turn into green once the switch read the, you know, the MAC address of this router itself. Is it clear, class, till now? Any doubt till now? Every interface of the router represent another network. Are you with me, class? Let me know. You can drop me a message or you can raise your virtual hand. So it's saying the meeting will end in 10 minutes. All right, no issue. We have already configured the DHCP server. We have configured the DHCP server. Now we have to test it. Just click on the PC. Click on the configure. It was static. Now click on the DHCP. Here it is saying DHCP request successful. The IP assigned is 192.168.1.2. One is not assigned. Why? Can you see this one is not assigned? Let me check with this PC. This PC, any PC you can take. The third PC. DHCP server. It is requesting for its IP. It say DHCP is successful. The IP address is assigned is 1.3. 254 is not assigned. 1 is not assigned. 2 is also not assigned because it is assigned to some other PC. Can you see that class? You can run. There is one command IP config all. So class, note down its IP address. It is 2, and note down its MAC address 00D0 B AAA E061. 4. Click on the desktop, IP configuration, dynamic, automatic. 5. So what happens? Suppose that now you are, taking your laptop and now you want to work in this network. You connecting your laptop to the switch. You wanna use that network. So what IP address will be assigned? Anyone? Is it clear? You can reply me in the chat box. I have displayed you. Okay, this is your laptop. Okay, it have RJ45, audio jack, USB jack, all. So desktop IP configuration, DHCP. This time, okay, it's saying DHCP failed because at that time this line was not green. Let's try one more time. Let's try one more time. Okay, DHCP request successful. So I'll go to the router, CLI. Just after CLI, just exit from here. There is one important command you can verify. Got user mode. So enable the router and then run so IP DHCP binding, IP DHCP binding. Any one of you remember the MAC address of this PC? किसी ने नोट किया है? Has anyone noted down? Has anyone noted down the MAC address? That is the IP. Okay. Let me run this command. So DHCP binding. See this output. In this output, the IP address is assigned 192.168.1.2 is assigned to the PC MAC address 00D0 BAAA E061, and it is of type automatic. And so cool. So IP DHCP pool. So this pool you are using, 5 IP addresses are being used on these. 2 IP addresses excluded, total 254 IP. So, okay. You can see the parameter also. Just close it. What are the parameter? Network parameter. These are IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, and the DNS server. DNS server, domain name system. I hope this session is clear to you all. Okay, someone have asked me to write down the steps what we did to configure the DHCP server. First, you need to, enable and come to the configure mode. Configuration mode is common. If you want to make any changes to the router, you have to enter to the configuration mode. After entering the configuration mode, you have to create the pool IP pool. Then you have to add, you have to add the network to the pool. You have to, provide the detail of the network. Then you have to give the network. After giving the network, you have to set the default router, default gateway. To give the default gateway, you have to give the command default router. Then to command, this is optional. You have to create the DNS server, right? You can exclude optional. You can exclude some IP addresses. Then you have to exit from it. All right. These are steps. Are you with me, class? Is it clear? So one thing more, if I'm taking another end device, okay, here, can I assign the static IP to this PC? Anyone there? No? Are you there, class? Here it is of orange color. Can you see? Because it is reading the device MAC. I'm just showing one thing. I'm providing 192.168.1.4. This address is already used in the network. 192.168.1.6. This is also 192.168.1.7. This is no. So I can make my laptop at database server. I can make this laptop at the database server. और मैं नहीं चाहता कि मेरे सर्वर का एड्रेस आईपी हमेशा बार बार चेंज हो. I do not want the IP address of my server, whether it is file server or the database server, DBMS server, I don't want it to be changed. Are you with me, class? Are you with me? So that's all in this session. I hope this session was, we have less than 60 seconds. I hope this session is useful for you all and it is clear to you all. If you have any doubt, any question, you may ask. All right. Thank you, class. Before leaving, give me the quick feedback. What is router CLI, command line interface? There is a question of initial configuration step. Where? Okay, pre-post is also open. Should we also demonstrate the experiment number